Hi students, these are the answers to your week 2 Thursday daily language questions. Number 1 is asking you to tell which word is last in alphabetical order. Well, the answer is shallot. Notice that all of these words start with the same first 3 letters. So in order to figure out the answer, you then have to move on to the 4th letter of each word, and so forth until you find which word comes last, and that is shallot. Number 2 is how many syllables does this word have? The word is relationship. The answer is 4, and a good way to figure this out is to clap the word out. I know you learned this in elementary school. This one has 4 claps. Number 3, I'm going to read it in the original form, which is Mrs. Peters asked Mr. Beckman, will the concert start at 700 or 730? Well, clearly 700 and 730 don't make sense. So one of the first things you may have noticed is that there's a colon to show that these are times, 7 o'clock and 7:30. So starting back at the beginning, Mrs. Peters is a person, so therefore it's a proper noun and needs to be capitalized. There is also a stopping point after Mrs. We do that with all abbreviations. And so therefore Mr. Beckman should look the same, capitalized and a stopping point after Mr. Now there's a reason that there's a comma after Mr. Beckman. This sentence is actually a sentence with a direct quote. That means we know the exact words that are being spoken. In this sentence, Mrs. Peters is our speaker. She is speaking to Mr. Beckman. She tells him or asks him, will the concert start at 7 o'clock or 7:30? So the words that came out of Mrs. Peters' mouth need to have quotation marks around them. So notice the quotation marks in front of will, and then after the question mark that I've added as well, which I'll get to in a moment. Okay, so quotation marks need to be used around the exact words of a speaker. Now, the comma after Mr. Beckman is there to separate that quote from the words that tell you who's saying the sentence, or also in this case, who the speaker is speaking to. So separate the quote part of the sentence away from the part that tells you who is saying it with a comma. The first word of every quote should be capitalized. That's why will is capitalized. Now there's a question mark at the end of the sentence there. That's because, see my little red dot? That's because the quote itself is a question. So therefore it has a question mark at the end. Now notice here, the question mark comes before the quotation mark, and over here, the comma comes before the quotation mark. If you're thinking about ABC order, look up here at the top. P comes before Q in the alphabet. If we can remember that, which I hope you have, P is going to stand for punctuation and Q is going to stand for quotation. So almost always when working with quotes, the P, the punctuation, whether it be a comma or a question mark, will come before the quotation mark, as in the case of these 2 sentences here. Number 4, the original sentence reads, the workman has come to fix the oven in Sammy's kitchen. So to fix this, we have to start off with fixing the verb, because workmen, our subject, is plural. There's more than one workman. There's more, so it's plural. Therefore, our verb also has to be plural. Now, we'll get into some more lessons later on, but subject-verb agreement is very important in sentences. So it's workmen have. Now, if you had left workmen or turned workmen into workman, then you could have left has. So it's either the workmen have or the workman has. Okay, Sammy's over here at the end is a proper noun, so we need to capitalize it. And the kitchen belongs to Sammy, so therefore we've got to make Sammy show ownership. The apostrophe goes in front of the S because the name of the person is Sammy, not Sammy's. And then kitchen was misspelled, Kitchen. The last question is complete the word to make the L sound. That's an L, not a 1. So with the base of S-E-V-E-R, I'm going to add A-L so that my word is several. Do you hear how it has the L sound at the end now? several,